Hello, everybody. I'm John.
And I'm Claire.
And we're doing Unit 2, Love Thy Neighbor. And this is a bit of a misnomer on the title because this was no love, but they were neighbors. This is talking about a U.S. incident which involved a drunk person, a gun, and 2 holes in a ceiling. But we will talk more about how those are connected when we get into the article a little bit later. Do you actually take time to know your neighbors?
I knew my neighbors growing up. We were living in houses. So we, as opposed to apartments, not as opposed to camping in vans or tents, separated houses. So I think it was easier to get to know your neighbors because they were at a distance.
You could have that space between you.
Yes, I wasn't afraid that they were going to be knocking on my door every 5 minutes. But ever since I've lived in apartments, both in Russia and here in Korea, I think I've been a bit more resistant to getting to know the neighbors, not because I dislike them, they've always been lovely, but I don't want them coming around knocking on my door every 5 minutes bothering me. So I generally don't get involved.
Wow. Yeah, those are good reasons to not get involved. No borrowing sugar in your universe.
Well, they're very welcome too, but I get a bit nervous just in case. Mainly probably because my Korean is not great, so I worry about the stress of the communication
the
and
anxiety,
the misunderstandings.
Yeah, and that's probably a reason why they don't knock is they don't want the stress of speaking English either.
Well, true, yeah. They see a foreign face and they're quite happy to keep their distance,
Yeah, which can be a lonely thing at times, but it can be quite a blessing when you don't want to be talked to.
It's got its advantages.
It has its advantages. Yeah, like I said, I don't really get to know my neighbors. I think my parents did. And so I was forced to in some ways, but I never got close to the neighbors, even when I was a kid. I was okay with the distance and I wanted it to stay that way. Has there any been conflict with a neighbor or have you ever had conflict and how did you resolve it?
I had a few, not real conflicts, but just amusing situations where one neighbor, I think from below me, she came up to knock on my door and she accused me of smoking in the house. Now, actually, I am a smoker, but I never smoke in my house because I have cats. I would never expose my cats to secondhand smoke.
That's why you smoked outside her house. Just joking.
I did not smoke outside her house either. But the thought came to me when I said, no, I don't smoke in the house. But then I thought, how do I prove that to her?
Yeah.
I mean, I offered to show her, she can come into the apartment so she can sniff around and see that there is no smell of it inside the house. But other than that, I thought, how do I prove it to her? So I got very lucky that I guess she never came back or she just believed me because I didn't really know what to do in that situation.
Yeah, exactly. You can have you could like test the walls if there are any yellowing or something. But it's really, but the smell is so strong. Like, people, once you open the door, you're like, oh, you smoke in your car or house, period. So it's obviously not a habit if ever done before. I actually did have a conflict of my own. Downstairs neighbor again. Kept calling the landlord to tell me that I was being too loud. And when I realized it was a lie or they were mistaken was when I was sitting at my desk watching a movie and I was called. And I was like, I literally have not moved or walked around my house for hours. I'm here watching a movie and it's not even loud because my speakers are terrible. It's like, okay, it's not me. And let's go ahead and see what that story is about.
Love thy neighbor. A Southern California woman who worked nights as a nurse had complained about her downstairs neighbor's piano playing for some time, with no effect. One day recently, she got drunk and lost her temper about it, firing 4 pistol shots into the floor of her kitchen while the neighbor was downstairs cooking lunch. Fortunately, the downstairs neighbor was not hurt. But the upstairs neighbor now faces serious criminal charges, and a promising life and medical career have been ruined just because of a few minutes of angry, impulsive behavior.